Don't mind me. There was dog, and then there was no dog, and I don't know. She might be like me and just kind of done, done with the day. Hi, everybody. I am here. We're gonna do a super fast, quick recap of the week. Why? Because, well, it's science. Science is here, but not like fun science right now. Right now, it's just a lot of, did you do this? Yes. Did you see this evidence? Yes. What did you do? And then they tell us. So, namely, it was the DNA and the person who put the piece of the taillight back together. Um, and so, yeah, it's going to be a quick zoom. And I honestly thought that I had taken notes for some of this. I didn't. The other things we're going to go over is the ruling controversy and my thoughts on that. And otherwise, it's just Sunday. We're going to have a little chat and it's going to be short and sweet, and then I am going to bounce and we will carry on with our evening. I'm going to go ahead and roll the intro. While I'm doing that, hi, welcome. Where are you coming in from? What are you sipping on this evening? Or are you just enjoying the lovely spring weather? Um, yeah, that. My brain is buffering in real time. I need to find my intro. Let's go ahead and do that. Intro. Hello and welcome to The Unfiltered Tea, a show where we say all the things you wish the newscasters said, unscripted and unfiltered. We talk about politics, pop culture, and courts, so pull up your soapbox, pour yourself a cuppa, and let's go. Let's go. Also, for hockey fans out there, Maple Leafs versus the Panthers is happening, I think, tonight, game 7. So I might peek in on that because, well, my Bruins are. Bleh. So that is where we are at. All right. What did this week look like? I know we did a catch up earlier. Um, and then we got the DNA. All right. We've got one. Dad is having a P3 pale ale from Flight Deck Brewing. If you are in Maine, not sponsored. They are one of our many wonderful microbreweries. We do love them. We love a good local business around here. Um, let's see. This week we had the gentleman who did the DNA analysis on the various things that had DNA. Oh, we had the shocker moment where there was a picture that might have been that was at the ME's office. We had the ME. Um, I promise I'm going to try and go in order, but so far that was like a pinball machine. Hold on. Let me go back. Let me start at the beginning and we will go from there. Okay. We started with having the medical examiner. That is probably the more interesting testimony. I didn't get timestamps. The interesting thing with the medical examiner is she did determine that the manner of death, i.e., was it a suicide, homicide, that kind of thing, was undetermined. And both direct cross examination and redirect was a whole lot of, so you knew all of these things, you knew all the things prosecution claimed, you knew all of that, and you still came to the determination that it manner of death was undetermined. Yep, did not change that. During her testimony, we had that photograph pop up of Trooper Keefe and somebody else that seemed to have been there. It looks the photograph looks like it might have been Proctor, but it was stipulated by both parties that it wasn't Michael Proctor, it was in fact Trooper Watson. I don't remember Trooper Watson coming up in the first trial. Nobody remembered Trooper Watson coming up in the first trial. So that was a moment that they just were like, oh, it was Trooper Keefe and Trooper. But there's questions about the log, and I'm still confused and want more information, but I don't think we're going to get it. We also, in the medical examiner's testimony, and I wish I had the timestamp for this, but I don't have it. That we got an Alessi level dad joke where he was talking about this triple board certified um, doctor who is a forensic pathologist and a neurologist and a forensic neurologist. She's much like Dr. Russell, clearly an expert of all things brain. And the medical examiner, Dr. Scordy Bello, had sent John O'Keefe's brain to her for further review and analysis. And so on Alessi's cross-examination, he starts talking with Dr. Scortibello and about this person that she sent it off with. And he was like, so do you know who she is? And her entire testimony was just like, I did this. This is the thing. I did this. This is my determination. At the mention of this other doctor's name, she just lit up. It was like, I know her. She's so, you could tell she just wanted to be like, she's amazing. She does all these things and blah, 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 blah. And Alessi basically was like, so she's the brains of the brain that you sent this off to. It was objected to. And I just, it, all the lawyers say it was a legitimate objection. I don't care. It was a dad joke only somebody with Alessi's vocabulary could truly make, and it was delightful. So we had that, and then after she was done, we had, I think, the expert who talked about how she collected the evidence. I cannot remember her name. And that was one where she had said something that it was possible that this could be that or this could be that. Anyway, and at the end of her testimony, she wanted to correct the record, but nobody sorry. I just left that up there just for funsies because I was doing other things. No, and so let's see. She was never asked about it on redirect. So at the end of her testimony, she asked the judge if she could correct the record. Oh, I remember what it was now. See, this is a problem when I don't take notes because I really should have taken notes on this. I was like, I'm going to remember. No. So there she had testimony over the stickers. So she was the one who took the glass off of the bumper of Karen Raid's car. And in the cross-examination, Alessi had said, well, you've got them all, you have this one marked as a B and this sticker down here, A looks different, and B, the letter B on the sticker is reversed. Could this have been a reflection in the photograph? And she said it could have been. And Brennan never asked her about it on redirect. So at the end of her testimony, she said she asked if she could correct the record, but you can't go back. What you said on the stand is what you said on the stand. If the attorneys don't ask you about it again, you don't get to chime in extra. So all of this, by the way, is in front of the jury. This jury is getting a whole different sort of behind the scenes look at things that they probably shouldn't see. They're seeing things like this. Can I correct the record? No, I'm sorry. The attorneys didn't ask you the questions, so nope. Um, and then we had, for experts, we had the DNA analyst who did confirm that John O'Keefe's DNA was on John O'Keefe's clothing. Color me shocked. We also, however, learned that there were several areas where there were two or more unknown contributors, like two or more unknown DNA contributors. But they never tested them against any of the other people that the defense have brought up their names up. So we have no idea who those. We know that the extra DNA is not former Trooper Proctor or Trooper Buchanan. We know that, but we don't know anything else. And then we also learned, I believe, that there wasn't any DNA on like the shards on the edges of the tail light, which is one of those things where if the Commonwealth's theory of the case is correct, I would expect there to be DNA there because it seems the tail light got a little bitey, according to them. But and the expert who put the tail light back together, I just I am not a puzzle person. What she does amazes me. She rebuilt the tail light with everything, and we learned what came in from whom and what matched and what came in other places and what matched. What other big moments did we have? Oh, we had another evidence kerfuffle with the woman who had gathered the pieces of glass off of the tailgate there. She opened the evidence box and was expecting to see a set of evidence and instead opened the box and we had a moment of, there's other stuff in here. Again, in front of the jury. So that had to be sorted out. So there were no major, in my memory, there are no, other than yet another evidence kerfuffle. The rest of this week was really kind of that. Just bringing in the evidence because there has to be a foundation for it. You have to know who did it. And we now know the injuries that John O'Keefe had suffered, because all of these things are required to be proven. What this week is going to hold, I don't know. In theory, the prosecution should be nearing the end of their case, which means we're about to get into the defense's case. I don't know if that's going to happen this week or next. I have no idea. I know that for most folks, everybody. Oh, and we also had, and outside the presence of the jury, we had a battle over the Commonwealth, one of the Commonwealth's experts who I guess maybe changed some things in their report. Uh, and the judge basically said that the defense doesn't get a voir dire. They don't get to ask about this. They don't get to ask any questions outside the presence of the jury. They just get a robust cross-examination, which they are entitled to anyway. So that sound that you heard toward the end of the day on Friday was all of the attorneys on YouTube going, "What?" And I want to see the report. That's what everybody said. At this point, I don't even know. I don't even know what's coming. At this point, It's kind of wild, though, to watch how the chats have been, because there have been so many of us who live up in the New England area that are like, corruption is, well, kind of par for the course in a lot of these parts, right? Like, this is not the defense's theory of the case is not nearly as surprising to a whole lot of folks that I know of up here, um, than it is to all of the people that I watch that are not in the New England area. They don't know how these things operate. They haven't seen anything like it. So they're just like, how is this even a thing? And so as we head into this week, I honestly, I don't know. Everybody is, all the people that I watch are starting to think that we're maybe heading toward a conviction. But I really don't know, and I don't know what the jury is thinking. From the accounts that I've been seeing from folks who are able to see the jury in the courtroom, we know that they are younger, and it does seem that they are paying very close attention and truly are paying more attention to what the defense says. So what I hope is in trial 1, the defense really pulled the burden onto themselves in a way that they didn't have to and shouldn't have. I think that there is a juror interview out there, and they started, even though they shouldn't have, everybody seemed to have started from the position of, if not guilty, why in guilty person chair. And I don't know if that's the case this time. I do hope that there is not another mistrial or hung jury, because the Commonwealth has said that they don't care how long it takes. They will keep prosecuting her, which honestly is like, really? You're going to say that and you think the defense is making stuff up. Okay. Okay. Sure. But the longer it goes on, the more I'm watching all of the people that I follow, like, maybe they were onto something with the Karen Reed was framed. I don't know. Also, there does seem to have been a bit of, this is what I want more information on, because I am going to pull this up. I do believe, and maybe I'm wrong, we'll find out, but I pulled up the beginning of court the other day because I think that is when Judge Cannoni admonishes the jury. Now, coming from this judge and some of her highly inappropriate comments in front of the jury so far, I feel like this jury was just matching energy for energy in that courtroom. But I don't know. This is one that I think we're gonna end up watching. So let me go ahead and pull that up. It's a very short thing. And let me, am I pulling it up to hear the hear yous? Maybe, but I think I need to zoom a little bit. No. That's not what I meant to do. Don't mind me. I'm just going to do this in real time. And no, full screen. Full screen. There we go. That. Share. There we go. No, what? StreamYard, you're confusing me. There we are. All right, let's see if I have this correct here. Unmute.
Hear. All persons have any business before the Honorable Beverly Cannoni, Justice of the Norfolk Superior Court, and for the County of Norfolk. Draw near, give your attendance, and you shall be heard. God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. This court is now open. You may be seated.
I do have to say, the Commonwealth has one of the
Good
best
morning
court
again,
openings
Council. Good morning
ever.
again, Ms. Reed. Good morning, jurors. So I appreciate your patience. I have to ask you those in this case.
We're going to skip the 3 questions.
Anyone happen to see? I have one other important instruction for you folks, and it's so important that each and every juror can hear the evidence or the testimony that's presented can follow the testimony, and can understand and evaluate the testimony of each witness and the exhibits. In order to do that, I just want to be very clear that it's important that people do not comment on the evidence or make any comments. Once you enter the room, it's probably a good idea to just listen. Don't talk, don't make any facial expressions, no muttering under your breath, no audible noises, because people need to hear what's going on and to understand everything. So out of respect for your fellow jurors, I would ask that you be very careful to make sure you don't do that, and out of respect to the lawyers who worked so hard to get this case before. Okay, thank you very much. With that, Mr. Brennan, your first witness, please.
So there was that. Out of respect for the lawyers. I feel like Brennan maybe complained. I don't know. I have heard reports that somebody was giggling at one point and rolled their eyes at one point because of, well, for anybody to be commenting about the comments, like, I guess it's kind of par for this trial that the judge is going to admonish the jury for, having facial expressions, since she's admonished the lawyers for their commentary. And then she had to sort of not really admonish herself for her commentary. So yeah, it's just a lot of commentary happening. And then, yeah, the other ruling that she gives, to allow this other, I thought of pulling it up, but honestly, I will just get mad. I will just get mad because at this point, this defense team is Karen Reed is very lucky that this defense team is as good as they are. Because if they had a smaller team, if they had a less good team of lawyers, you know what? It would not be going very well for them. They can catch stuff on the fly that they wouldn't be able to. And given that at so many turns in this trial, they've been told that their scope is narrower, or they have to focus on this, or they go to object and she overrules all of their objections, even when she says that they can ask these questions. And then it's sort of the flip side with the Commonwealth. It is wild. Which brings me to this. If you are watching this and you are in Massachusetts, I believe the district attorney is elected. Vote them out. Do not contact anyone within the court. Don't contact the bar. Don't contact anybody with complaints. This is one of those times. Internet, do not take this real world. Let the lawyers handle it. Let the lawyers handle it, because you will make things worse for everybody involved if you don't do that. This is one of those times where trust that if there is an egregious issue, like I happen to be seeing, but I don't actually know, if there is a truly egregious issue, you can bet your buttons that this Yannetti Jackson Alessi team is going to do what they need to do to bring that to light. So do not worry about that. Don't go real world. We can go real world this way. If you have something to say about that, you can pop into chat here and we can talk about it here. If you've got a camera, if you've got things that you want to say, you can hop online, you can do that there. But do not contact. I've seen this a lot. People asking, how can we contact these people? Blah, 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 blah. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's like, this is related, but it's a squirrel I'll run the squirrel moment before I have the squirrel moment, and then I'll wrap up and we'll see what this week brings. Squirrel moment. So I saw something, I don't know, a few weeks back. And this was a Supreme Court thing. And somebody was mad at one of the Supreme Court decisions, or there was a case coming before the Supreme Court. I don't remember the difference. And I'd seen this thread, and they were big, big mad about how the clerk that had answered, how the person who had answered the phone at the Supreme Court of the United States was rude to them. And apparently there had been something that had gone out that's like, hey, contact the Supreme Court. Never do that. Never do that. Do not contact the courthouse. If you need to file a complaint, if there is something wrong at a courthouse with rulings or judgments or the law, go to an attorney and find out if there is a different option to make the complaint. But as a person who is not an attorney, who doesn't do that, don't. And with the Supreme Court of the United States, they could not figure out why the person was so rude to them. I'm like, if you are the 15th call this person has had, and they're answering the phone, and you are trying to sway the judges on a particular issue, don't. Just don't. Just don't do that. It's not, you call your representative if it's political. Call your representatives. Email them. If they're not listening to you, contact the next one over. What have you. There's ways to reach out. So if you've got problems with what you are seeing, and I do think this is a lot like that YSL or the Young Thug case, one of them, where there was another judge that was terrible. This is why we need eyes in the courtroom. So that we at home can sit around and we can see what's happening, and then educate yourself on your local district attorneys and your local judges. If you vote them in, do your homework. Most of them are probably on LinkedIn and social media and stuff like that. So you can get a sense of, are they doing things that you like? And you probably can get in touch with folks who know who they are and how they operate. So for the elected officials, you always have the option to vote them out or vote in somebody that you think does a better job. If judges are appointed, and they're appointed by, say, district attorneys or similar, if you vote on your judge, vote on the judge. Because every jurisdiction is different. So think of it this way. If you are angry with what you are seeing with the judge's rulings and stuff like that with the Karen Reed case, keep watching, keep finding out what you're angry about, and then take it home and figure out what you need to do locally. Maybe when all of this is over, we will do a little show on that for how to go through and find out things that you want to know about the people running for these local offices, because it will affect you directly on some level. It may be not right away, but and if you're in the town of Canton, if you're in that jurisdiction, yeah, I think there's a lot that when DA Morrissey is up for reelection, that's the time to make your voice heard and cast your vote for somebody else who fits with what you think how the law ought to be upheld. Anyway, it is not just, this isn't a Massachusetts thing. We've seen other hearings with judges from the same area that are way different, and in my personal opinion, have a much better judicial demeanor. But that is my little rant. This has been maybe the quickest catch up because we are at one of those lovely little points in trial where if you're the jury, you have to try and stay awake, get your coffee, all of that, and pay close attention and write all the numbers down. If you're like us and we are just watching, you can just pop your headphones in and listen to it and probably zone out for half of it and catch recaps on things. So we get to do several days in super short recap. Thank you for hanging out. I will try to pop on if there is a big day in court or if something really exciting happens, because something's always popping off in this courtroom. So I will try and pop on this week if one of those things happens. If we are just boring blah blah science all week, great. Then I will see you on next Sunday and we will do another version of this. And then I don't know how often I'm going to be able to pop in during the week after that, because next week, guys, is my birthday. And then I get to go back to the day job that I have that I missed terribly, which means I'm going to be in full reentry mode. But don't worry, I'm still going to be here. I'm still going to do recaps. We're still going to catch up. With that, we are science evidence coming in. Really cool if you're a juror, not so cool if you're just watching it come in and you don't get to look at any of the things. So that is where we are at. Thank you for joining me. I know this is a short one. And we'll catch up again next week, if not before. You guys have been awesome. And as always, be well, do good, remember to bark a lot, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks for joining us for another episode of The Unfiltered Tea. Don't forget to hit that like button. If you have a story you want our unfiltered take on, go ahead and drop it in the comments, and we will see you next time.